Quote from the book on bundling across product lines. Here, bundling similar bought-in parts for all product lines is what creates the advantage. An example might be a white goods manufacturer that consolidates the sourcing of all electric motors. This is a topic where the obvious advantages using the same components across product lines needs to strike a balance with the needs of different customer segments. An obvious example is the platform strategy pioneered by Volkswagen and copied by many other car makers. But there are also striking examples in other sectors like aerospace and defense. In this video, I will aim at connecting the dots and discuss the advantages and disadvantages of this method. Let's get started. If we talk to marketing people, they would ideally have bespoke models for each and every customer to micro-target their needs. If we talk to manufacturing people, they would feel really comfortable in Henry Ford's Model T days, in which customers could have any color they wanted as long as it was black. Finding the right balance here is not trivial. If you ask for my personal opinion, I would say that GM's 1980s and 1990s badge engineering was taking it one step too far in the direction of standardization. In those days, Volkswagen's platform strategy probably was the most sound approach. It allowed them to standardize approximately 60% of a vehicle's cost and development effort, and it led to huge savings in terms of money and time to market. Yes, it was a bit rigid in terms of wheelbase and overall appearance of the car, but in those days it was groundbreaking and it built the groundwork for today's far more sophisticated approaches. But the automotive industry is not the only sector going for bundling across product lines. And with the multitude of models and relatively short product life cycle, it may not be the best example to study the difficulties to strike a balance between the needs of different customer segments and the advantages of bundling. So let's take a look at fighter aircraft. At least since the heights of World War II, there have been efforts to use the same aircraft for land-based roles and for missions from aircraft carriers. And initially, the Royal Navy put regular Spitfires on their carriers. This was a highly pragmatic solution, as the Spitfire was the finest plane around, but on a carrier, the Spitfire came with many limitations. It required the really long deck of a fleet carrier for takeoff and landing, and even on these long decks, it was prone to accidents in adverse weather conditions. And it needed an awful lot of space because its wings didn't fold. So there were efforts to make a naval version of the Spitfire that could withstand the stresses of a catapult launch and an arresting hook, which made the Spitfire suitable for the shorter decks of an escort carrier. They also gave that version of the Spitfire that is named Sea Spitfire, but that everyone calls Seafire, folding wings so that more of them could fit on one aircraft carrier. But all of these changes plus the bigger engine made the Seafire a lot heavier, almost twice as heavy as the Mark I Spitfire, with very different handling characteristics. So while the Seafire more or less looks like a Spitfire, it is actually quite a different aircraft. Based on these and similar experiences with other aircraft, navies opted for custom aircraft whenever sufficient funding was provided. Time and again, politicians like Robert McNamara tried to converge Air Force and Navy programs, and more often than not, the result was a failed or half-failed program like the DFX that got a second lease of life as the Air Force's F-111 after it was rejected by the Navy. Which gets us to the post-Cold War era in which military spending got cut and there was again pressure to combine the needs of the US Air Force, the Navy and the Marine Corps with those of the militaries of more than 15 other countries in the Joint Strike Fighter program. The result of that program is the F-35, a project that saw its share of delays and cost overruns. After a lot of controversy, the F-35 looks like a success, but there are still a lot of people who argue that it would have been far better to let the Navy and the Air Force have their own aircraft programs. So there you have it, C1, bundling across product lines, a purchasing chessboard method that is based on solid theory, but sees its challenges in execution. Okay, I'm curious. What is your experience with bundling across product lines? Did you see a resounding success, or have the results been mixed? Let all of us know in the comments down below, and should you have a question, I will get back to you within 24 hours. Thank you for watching, and I see you in the next one. Bye!